It's the Bob Schmidt Show on today's Talk 1490. Charlie Berens joining me now. And, the thing about the name Charlie Berens, you're thinking, maybe I know that name, maybe I don't. If you've got teenage kids, you probably have heard that name many times. If not, you've probably heard the catchphrase, keep her moving. That guy, Manitowoc Minute. Charlie, thanks for being on with me. So my 16-year-old son first introduced me to you probably about a year ago. He's like, Dad, you got to watch this. And he's like laughing his little butt off. He's like, this guy is so funny. And there's a few things that caught my attention. I'm like, that is pretty funny. So I see that you're coming to La Crosse, and I thought, well, I got to talk to this guy. So thanks, first of all, for being on with me. Secondly, how did you come up with the whole Manitowoc Minute idea?
Well, let's kick it back and talk about your son real quick. I owe him actually $150. I paid him to do that, so a big thanks to him, and the check's in the mail, okay? What's his name? What's your son's name?
His name is Robert.
Robert.
Yeah,
nice.
And let me just tell you this, that he actually, he didn't ask me, he didn't say, hey, Dad, can you see if you can get me some tickets? Or, hey, Dad, can you try to find out, if we can do anything with this? He went out and bought tickets at UWL in order to go to your show. And he tried to get
that's awesome.
He tried to get the backstage ones, and they were already sold out.
Oh, well, just, I can, I'll tear up this check for $150, okay? And then I'll see if I can't get him backstage real quick once, okay?
Yeah, he'd probably would get a pretty big kick out of it. But his question was, he goes, how did he come up with the Manitowoc Minute?
The way I came up with it, it actually all started with, so I do a lot of stand-up, and it started during a stand-up show that I had where I was doing a character which was based off of myself, based off of my time in local news. So I was in local news before I was in comedy, and the thing about local news is they prefer a very neutral accent, which I did not have. And so you end up getting voice coaches to try and get like a more neutral accent, especially if you have a thicker accent. And so my character is basically like that guy who never got the voice coach. And it all started in this stand-up bit where I would do the character, and then it seemed like whether I was doing good or bad, like if I had a bad joke or something, I knew I could always save it by going into this character. People always liked it, so I was just like, I should probably find another place to put this character aside for just on stage.
Are you a Wisconsin guy?
Oh yeah, huge Wisconsin guy. Yeah, am I, or is my?
Well, I know you're obviously your character is, but I mean, is Charlie from Wisconsin?
Oh yeah. Yep, from the Milwaukee area, born and raised. My grandparents are from Fond du Lac. We would go like up north every year. So huge Wisconsinite through and through.
Where'd you do news?
I did news a few places in Dallas, in D.C., in South Carolina, in Los Angeles, and I did news in various aspects. I did local news. I did a YouTube news thing for a little bit. I did business reporting and entertainment reporting. So in every single one of those, I actually couldn't do voiceovers at one of them because I had too thick of an accent.
Because you had your keep or moving voice going.
Yeah, I kept. It was like the business reporting where I was like, we got to keep that. I tell that stock market just keep her moving, okay? And for some reason they were like, yeah, this isn't going to fly. So
being the Manitowoc Minute guy that obviously is all over YouTube, all over Facebook. I've seen it, at a bunch of different places. Can you go to the grocery store anywhere in the state of Wisconsin and have a teenager not come up to you and say, "Hey, you're that guy"?
You know what's funny is I never thought it would happen, but it's gotten kind of tough to do that and not get recognized. So I have this Walski's patch that I wear, and it really, that I think just makes it easier. I don't understand, but it's kind of cool. I mean, I love it.
Well, I'm guessing that once you start talking to somebody, if you talk to them in your Charlie voice rather than your Manitowoc Minute voice, I'm sure that they're like...
They're immediately bored and they walk away. They're like, I'm so disappointed right now. Imagine walking up to Aaron Rodgers and just just realizing that it's Aaron's younger brother, the guy on The Bachelor. That's kind of what it's like. They're like, well, nice to meet you, sir. Have a wonderful day. Here, don't forget your noodles. Bye.
Either that or tossing Aaron, who you thought was Aaron, a football and just having him throw it like your mom does or something.
There you go. That would have been. See, that would have been. I would started off with a strong analogy and then totally lost it. But you've got a better one. Yeah, like Aaron, hey, toss me those chips, and it just kind of they fall like to the ground or something. So we're workshopping this. We're workshopping.
And isn't that what it's all about? Is just brainstorming it. So being a comedian, how often? Jerry Walski was the name, by the way, that I was thinking about earlier, where I said a buddy of mine's a comedian in Chicago, and and so he'll be somewhere, and people will recognize him, and they'll say, "Oh, you're a comedian. Tell me a joke." So how often are you somewhere? It's like, Charlie, you got to tell me a joke.
Yeah, well, I get that. I get that a lot. And, most people leave disappointed. I definitely have one-liners, but usually with a comedian or whatever, all their jokes are based on stories, and so, like, it's not, most don't have, like, a one-liner that's like, tell me a joke, and you'll get bored by the setup, because the setups are like based on a character that's established on stage, and so it all kind of builds. So to just pull a joke out of it probably wouldn't be too funny. Or maybe that's just a really good excuse for comedians to have, and they don't want to just tell a joke randomly.
Well, I get well, talk to me in your radio voice. Okay, I am right now.
Yeah.
No, the one that you have on the radio. Yeah, this is it. No,
yeah.
The one that, like, no, this is really, this is what you got. I'm sorry, man.
That's funny. It is kind of the same thing. Although some people really, really turn that. Some broadcasters really, welcome to WGAB, and you know what I mean. They really
right.
That's another thing. That's kind of a news type thing.
Well, I think that boils down to the 80s. You get a lot of people from the 80s that are talking that way. So, how long have you had your character? How long have you been doing stand up and doing getting out in front of people?
I've had this character for a while. The character actually was in some form was around back in 2014,
mm-hmm.
but I didn't really have the confidence to do it, I guess you'll say, until I did a Jack Dawson video, which is where I basically took Titanic and then underdubbed it with my Wisconsin accent under Jack Dawson's voice, because he's from Wisconsin, obviously, and that was the first time I really put the character out there in public, and it got some pretty good reception. But it still took a while after that to do the Manitowoc Minute.
How many people watch your Manitowoc Minute on a weekly basis?
Well, that depends. The normal show gets between probably 400,000 to it's gotten up to 1.1 million views. Some episodes have, which it's pretty cool to see. Now it's interesting because Facebook will change. They actually just changed it again recently, the algorithm for how they allow videos to get views.
Mm-hmm.
So because of all the fake news, Mark Zuckerberg has decided to just make it focused on, like, your friend's baby pictures instead of like publishers, I guess, or
original material,
like media outlets.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that does anything to the views. So far, it really hasn't done a ton, but you never know. And it's also on YouTube, and it's on Funny or Die, and it gets around.
Charlie Berens is joining us on today's Talk 1490, the voice and star of the Manitowoc Minute. So are you able to monetize the Facebook stuff?
No, Facebook does not let you monetize at all. And they have some pilot monetization programs, but generally speaking, Facebook and YouTube and all these different venues, they're not great for making revenue unless you're doing millions and millions and millions of views per video. Otherwise, it's some money, but it's not really a ton, believe it or not.
So what makes you want to do this, get up every morning and write something in order to publish it? I've been doing some. I just really enjoy it, and I really enjoy comedy, and I really enjoy news, and I've been doing this, with some degree of regularity for years and years of just creating new content and always creating, whether there's money there or not. And you can find other ways of making money on it, and it's fine. I'm not trying to say I'm just doing it or I'm not making any money doing it, but you can find creative ways of making money. But at the end of the day, if the purpose of doing anything is making money, it has probably a shorter shelf life than if you just really enjoy doing it. And I just really enjoy comedy. I really love Wisconsin, and that's why I think that this has worked out. Do you think that that your love for doing the Manitowoc Minute has outgrown the shelf life that you thought it was going to have?
You mean, is that a long way of saying am I sick of it?
No, well, or is your 15 minutes done?
Oh, yeah. That's a better way of saying it. Kid, you're washed up. How can I tell you that? No, I don't. First of all, I didn't expect it to go past the first episode, and so the fact that it's done this has been really cool and really awesome to see. And I think basically in terms of what's next is I have certain things I actually can't quite talk about yet, but we have a lot in store this coming year between the tour and new episode ideas and new kind of in-the-field content. And, I really said I can't say a lot of it, and then I started saying some of it, so I'll just leave it at that. But to get to your point, if you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, the shelf life is limited. But it's about growing the character and growing the show and just seeing what more you can explore. And the cool thing is every time I feel like I've tapped out, I've exhausted Wisconsin content or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's so much more there. There's so much more, and people love. They're like I think the most unique thing about Wisconsin is that the people in Wisconsin are all like super fans of Wisconsin from what I can tell, and I don't think you have that in like every other state. It's like, I live in West Virginia, I live in Illinois, but Wisconsin, there's so much pride there and so much spirit, and I don't know what it is that about Wisconsin that makes that to be true, but I certainly enjoy it.
Manitowoc Minute's Charlie Berens, Keep Her Movin' tour coming to La Crosse on the 16th of February, 7:30 to 9:30 at UWL at the Bluffs at UWL. Tickets are available for $20 and $25 depending on if you're a student or not. So what can somebody expect at your show? Is it just going to be the YouTube video that I see, or is it a show?
Oh no, it's a show. So what you can expect. We'll definitely incorporate what you see on YouTube, and but what it's going to expand. First of all, I come from a stand-up background, so there will be a lot of stand-up and improv in not an improv show, but there will be improv elements in the show, and there's some audience involvement, and there is. I basically like to keep you guessing. There's some musical elements too. There's a little bit of everything in this show, and so far people have seemed to really like it. So coming up, I think you will too.
Let me ask you this: how did you come up with your catchphrase? Keep her moving.
That's a good question. So I come from like a stand-up and improv background, and a lot of a lot of the catchphrases I must have picked up somewhere, but like I'm all they're Wisconsin isms, for the most part, I think, and I think that was mostly improvised, and also like "Go Packers," that tagline. I was trying to like Edward R. Murrow always ended his newscast or his radio cast by saying "Good night and good luck,"
Right.
And I wanted the Wisconsin version of that, so that's I tried a bunch of them, and that's the "Go Packers" one's the one that's tough. So.
All right, so is that more popular than the "Keep Her Moving"?
What's that?
Is the "Go Packers" blank the Bears? Is that more popular than the "Keep Her Moving"?
No. I mean, if we're going by what people will say, I think "Keep Her Moving's a little bit more popular.
So has somebody like Larry the Cable Guy come after you because he used the word in there because he uses get her done, and you're saying keep her moving?
No, I don't think so. I mean, that would actually be a great parody. That would be a great parody because it's over the use of the word and I think he uses just an R because obviously certain people have said it. And you've got the Larry the Cable Guy uses "get her done," and so I looked up the spelling, and he just uses R.
Well,
so take that, Larry the Cable Guy.
Charlie Berens joining us. One of the things I like to do, Charlie, when I interview somebody, is I post up on Facebook that I'm going to be talking to somebody. And so the other day on Facebook, I said, if you could ask Manitowoc Minute guy Charlie Berens a question, what would you ask him? So do you mind if I go through these questions? I'm going to ask every one of them.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Libby asks, oh, man, I don't know. He's pretty awesome. What is his favorite type of cheese?
Favorite type of cheese? Oh, well, okay. I'm not I like cheese curds, like the squeaky kind, the kind you get off of that one stop when I'm coming back from up north. It's like a side of the road stop. I like cheese curds, that's it. But I'm not good at knowing when you go to Subway and Subway's a terrible example. But when they say we have all these cheeses, I'm like a little confused. I'm like, I just like cheese,
Just give me the stuff that's square. Just like,
yeah.
If you have to unwrap it individually, that's the kind for me. All right, Josh asked, what kind of condition has made him a Minuteman?
I don't even know where to start with that question. You know what? That's just a punchline question is what that is. That's great. You get props for that.
Steven says, is he worried about never playing another character?
Never playing another... like being pigeonholed?
Yeah.
No, I think that, sure, that comes to the territory anytime you do a character, but if you can reestablish with other characters. Basically, you just have to be funnier than the character before. And so, if I can't do it, well, that's on me. That's my fault. So, no, I'm not worried about that.
Robert asks, how do you come up with the Manitowoc Minute?
Oh, well, we kind of answered that, but stand-up character was a character I did during my stand-up shows, and basically I was like, well, do a video using this, and people seem to like it quite a bit.
I have a follow-up on that. Do you write your own stuff?
Oh, yeah. Occasionally, actually, my friends will throw in a joke, or my brother will throw in a joke and a punchline. So occasionally I'll get some people doing that. I would love to have more people doing it, but no, I write. I would say 95% of it.
So are the ads? This is another one of mine. Are the ads at the beginning of the Manitowoc Minute? Are those real, or are those things you just made up?
The first one was one I used to go to Bobber Down Bait Shop in the first episode, and so I just threw that in there. I just grew up to watch. So I grew up watching a lot of Wisconsin fishing videos, and basically they always would have it would be a glorified ad for everything. So I just like the idea of making it really like corny ads. And so a couple places ended up like sponsoring some, but I would say, again, like 90%, I just find cool small businesses in Wisconsin or places I've visited and put those in.
Like the hat sauce?
Like what?
The hot sauce one?
Actually, yeah. Legendaries, I will say that place was one of the first to say, hey, we'll actually pay to sponsor it.
Uh-huh.
And they've been great. They've been awesome. They were just one of the first people that reached out. So I did do that. But I think the hot sauce one, I don't think I charged anything for that one.
All right, on to the Facebook questions. Chad wants to be a special guest on your show. Can he be a special guest?
He can send me a video or something, or a video report, and then I'll see if I can use it.
All right, Terry, can he be a feature or a part of Oktoberfest this fall? And he goes on to say, my gosh, that would be awesome.
Oh, I love Oktoberfest. If I can get that, I couldn't get there this past year because it was busy that weekend, but I'd love to get that.
I actually asked you because I was part of the Oktoberfest, the giant Oktoberfest brat that got stolen. I had asked you after that if you could come, if you wanted to be a part of that this year. So the slicing of the golden brat, I'd like to invite you to be one of the special guests that slices the golden brat if you want. If you want to be a part, you don't have to say anything about it now. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Sean says, were you pulling for the Vikings last weekend?
Was I pulling for the Vikings?
Yeah. No. Nancy says, what did the Bears ever do to you?
A lot. A lot.
Scott says, at the end of each episode, you always say, go Pack or go Pack, and then parentheses something, the Bears. For some reason, at that exact moment, the one word is beeped out, and he can't figure it out. Maybe Charlie could say the word on your show so that everybody knows what it is. Is there a word that you say there?
Yeah, it's actually...
Why did it beep on mine too? That's weird.
That is weird. We gotta fix this system. I don't know. It shouldn't be so hard to figure out that I'm saying.
Again, it beeped again. That's just weird. Kevin asked, when do you expect your 15 minutes of fame to end?
25 minutes ago.
Is this conversation going on that long? Heather says she can't wait to hear the interview. Her son loves the guy and owns a few apparel items. It'll be great. Michael says, interview when? And then he says he has the same question that Scott asked about the one word that keeps getting beeped out for some reason. And then finally, Charlie, Tom asked, do the Bears really suck?
Yeah. That is actually a well-known fact. It's on their Wikipedia page.
Manitowoc Minute's Charlie Berens. Keep her moving. Tour coming to La Crosse, stopping on February 16th from 7:30 to 9:30. Tickets are still available. You can get those by going where? I don't even know where you can go to get them.
Yeah, you can go to manswatchminute.com real quick once and keep her moving.